Hello. First of all, I would like to say thank you so much for those who support us on here and also TikTok. It does mean the world to us. We appreciate it. So this is Flame. If you don't know Flame, he is our red hypo dragon. So I just thought I would do a quick video for people who are thinking of getting a dragon or are new to these guys. They are very sassy, by the way. First thing I would tell you is, and it's a weird one, okay, when they do their business, go to the toilet, it reeks. Okay, there's your heads up. You need to know this. They do not tell you this when you get your first dragon, okay? Be prepared. Don't say I didn't warn you. So a viv size, obviously because you need a vivarium for these guys, housing or enclosure, or I call it a vivarium. It needs to be 100 centimeters long, 60 centimeters high, and 67 centimeters deep. That's the minimum size for these guys. So that's a 4x2 by 2. So 4 feet long, 2 feet wide, and 2 feet high, or 120 gallons. I honestly, I don't work in gallons at all. I am actually really bad at measurements, to be honest, not gonna lie. There are at least 11 morphs of dragons. Yes, I had to look that up because I was curious on how many morphs there are. The main ones, which we've all heard of, is the standard one. So the classic bearded dragon, which is Thor. If you've seen Thor in any of our videos, she is a classic beardy. She's called Thor because I misgendered her. Yes, that does happen a lot as well with bearded dragons, is you think it's one sex, but it's actually another. The hypo. Now you could tell if your dragon's a hypo because they've usually got clear nails. The translucent, the leatherback, silkback, the zero morph, which is my dream morph dragon. I'm so jealous of those who got zero. The German giant. I've never seen a German giant. I wouldn't even know what viv requirements they would need. Citrus. Obi is a citrus. We all know who Obi is, right? Obi is a citrus dragon. So it's just basically like, like the markings, like the yellow, like citrusy colours you'll see around them. Substrate. So, look, Flame's like, no, not the substrate talk, mother. So substrate, basically, your sand is one of the best because it replicates, like their native Australia, their natural habitat. So I use desert sand, but I also use slate. So I use slate because it helps with retaining heat. Not only that, it helps with the nails. I am not confident enough to cut my bearded dragon's nails, so I don't touch those. Yes, I am a chicken, okay? There, I said it. Calci sand is cheap, the cheapest option, but I advise you not to use calci sand. This is because it can cause impaction, and it's also like it can become dusty, which can get in your dragon's eyes, and it can just cause respiratory issues. So a lot of people will also say the same thing, don't use calci sand. The same as Repticarpet. Now, I have used Repticarpet when I first started because, it's quite costly at times, but, Repticarpet holds a lot of bacteria, and not only that, it can, like, the dragon's nails can get caught in it. So that's not ideal to use. So that's why I use desert sand and slate. There's other alternatives you can look into as well for substrate. Obviously, social media as well, because we all know what social media is like, right? Yeah, there's always someone out there that's going to correct you. Okay. Sorry, I just looked over and our corn snake's peeking out of her hideout. And she's listening. Can't listen, she's got no ears, but you know what I mean, she's watching. You also need UVB and a basking bulb, and your hot side and your cool side. So temperature wise, it's ideal if you can get a I don't know what they're called, I'm going to call it a thermo gun. So you can take the temperature of the vivarium. So the basking area, so the hot side, should be between 38 and 42 Celsius, or 100 and 107 if you're using Fahrenheit. And the cool end should be 22 to 26, that's 72, 79 Fahrenheit. And humidity should be 30 to 40%, but you can bring it up a bit, you know, when they're going through a shed. Not as in a shed in the garden, but they're shedding. I don't know if you can see he's shedding on his face, look, so just there. So he's come to the end of his shed. A thermostat, so the thermostat is going to control the heat as well, so you know you can set it to, if it reaches a temperature that's too hot, it will turn it down or turn it off, so it basically controls the temperature. As you know, I also bath my dragons because mine are stubborn and won't drink out of the water bowl, so the bath, as I said so many times before, is so they can go to the toilet if they want to, and hopefully encourage them to drink. And also it helps when they are going through a shed as well, because when they shed, you know, it's itchy. It's a bit like, because when we get sunburn, you know, you want to itch away. Or I do anyway. Not that I suntan. I go like a lobster. What else do you know about these guys? So bug wise, I feed mine twice a week because they're adults and they have greens every day. So if you have a baby, it is 80% bugs and 20% greens. And then when they're adults, it's 80% greens and 20% bugs. They can have fruit, so mine love blueberries. Like, blueberries always a winner. But with fruit, you've got to give it as like a treat, you know, in moderation because of the sugar content. But green wise, they like things like spring greens, kale, cucumber. What else do you guys eat? Sweet peppers. Mine love sweet peppers. Carrots. I cannot get mine to eat carrots at all. I've tried everything. Yeah, I know, right, buddy. Bugs, so like dubia roaches, Mario worms. I think in America they're called super worms. You might have to correct me. Mealworms, crickets, locusts. Yeah, and don't forget to gut load your bugs as well. So that means when before you're about to feed your dragon, if you feed the bugs first, you know, with some green, and add the calci powder as well, which is also helpful. I do sometimes forget. So with the powders, you'll need calcium powder with D3. So you sprinkle the calcium powder on the worms and the greens. So the one day they'll have calcium powder, the next day they have calcium powder with D3, and a day off. You can also use multivitamin powder, which we have. I think I've shown it in a video somewhere. And the multivitamin powder. Are you glaring at me? Rude. I feel like I'm forgetting something. He's like, I'm not helping here, Mum. Hideouts are good for in the vivarium, so things they can climb, a platform. You know, so hideouts where they can go and hide if they want to. He's going to misbehave now. Just things like that, you know, things that they can play with and do that. I've got to keep an eye on him. See, like, if you're feeding them, try not to give them anything bigger than like between their eyes. So anything bigger than that, don't give it to them. So like, say you give them a massive piece of cucumber and it's bigger than, say, their, like, you know, their mouth, for example, cut it up. I know you're like, oh, but that just seems so obvious, but you know. I'm just trying to be helpful. I don't know if this video is going to help people, but you know. We have 12 hours of light as well, so I advise you get a timer so that your lights automatically come on and then they'll automatically switch off. So mine come on at 8 a.m. and go off at 8 p.m. Some people are different. Some people leave them on for like 15 hours. Some people will have them on for 10 hours. I personally, 12 hours for me. I can't stress this enough. I am not an expert. I'm also not here to judge people, which if you follow us on TikTok, you know this. We're happy to answer any questions if I know the answer. That's shed on his face. I just love my animals, I love my dragons. And I just think there's so much judgment within the reptile community sometimes when, for me personally, I think we should be helping each other without making, another person who's new or looking at getting a dragon and making them feel, I don't want to say worthless, what's the word? I don't know, we'll say worthless, so. I think I've covered everything. I'm probably going to end this video and be like, I've forgotten to say this. There could be another video. I'm one of these people with a very bad memory. So I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. I hope you find this video helpful. We're going to try and do a few more videos as and when. And like I said, if you're going to get a bearded dragon, just remember that when they go to the toilet, it stinks, okay? You've been pre-warned, but you get used to it, unless it's done in the basking area. Okay, if it's done in the basking area, which a few of mine have done, yeah. I think they did it just to annoy me, to be honest. But yeah, and also, if you like bearded dragons or, snakes, give us a follow. Treat yourself.